Hello and welcome back to the third installment. We're doing it again, yes, of my young adult series. Do I even like young adult books? Because I am a young adult librarian, so you'd think I would. So I think I forgot to say, I'm Megan. Welcome back to my home library. It'll be a little bit of a reading vlog in this video where I will keep you updated on the 3 books that I'm going to read. I'm not sure what books I've picked out yet for this video. We'll just kind of see. But the first one, I know the first one because I just recently started it, is Wrecked by Heather Henson. She's a young adult author. Well, at least I don't know. I guess all of her books are young adult. I don't actually know. Is this her first book? Okay, clearly I don't even really know anything about the author. But she is from Kentucky, this author, as am I. And so I'm going to her book signing in a week and a couple days, and I have to read this book because I'm going to her book talk thing, and I guess I need to buy a copy. This is not my own copy. It's one that somebody loaned me. And I just started it. I'm only on page 40 or something like that. But I did not realize until, thank goodness, I read the author's note, which that's another thing. You know, kids never preview books anymore like they used to. They don't look ahead, look at the end, read it. And if I'm reading an audiobook, I can't do that either. I wouldn't have known this, but there's an author's note at the end that talks about how much the author loved The Tempest, her favorite Shakespeare play, growing up even back to when she was a kid. And this is sort of like a Tempest retelling, and I really liked The Tempest back when I read it. It's been a long time since I read it, almost 20 years. So I'm just trying to remember. But anyway, on the back it also says it's Looking for Alaska meets Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is one of my favorite TV shows of all time ever. So if you can not tell, it's going to be about somebody making drugs, obviously. But it's a retelling of The Tempest set in Kentucky, sort of dealing with this opioid crisis that we have here in our state. And Looking for Alaska is my favorite John Green book, one of my favorite realistic fiction books of all time. But I know what happens in Looking for Alaska, so I'm just going to go ahead and assume that one of the main characters is going to die. And it's called Wrecked, and they're on a motorcycle. So just throwing it out there, somebody's going to wreck and die. Maybe because of drugs. That's just my guess. I mean, I'm just kind of piecing 2 and 2 together here, but we'll see. But it's interesting because it's told from 3 different characters' points of view. The 2 main characters that are, of course, going to be love interests, the girl whose dad is makes meth, apparently, and then the boy who is just new and just moved to this town and doesn't know anything about what's going on there. And of course, they're gonna hook up, I guess. And they've already met on the first day of school, and he's skipping school with her and stuff right away, which is kind of fun. And there's this other character named Clay, and I don't know who he's gonna be. He's kind of been her brother figure, but maybe he has a thing for her because he's a little bit older, and he is kind of the guard there now at her dad's farm thing, and with his meth operation. And so clearly the Clay guy knows about it, and I think he's gonna end up kind of being the bad guy. And I don't know. I hear that I saw the reviews online said he's gonna be the one that's the most interesting character of the bunch, so I'm intrigued to see his story. I also feel like these characters are based on the characters from The Tempest, especially based on their names. Miranda was the main girl, and her name's Miri, and then her dad's name's Poe, and in the book it was, I was gonna say Poseidon. It's not Poseidon. Prospero. Yeah, Prospero. And then the boy's name is Finn, and I can't remember if there was a character that sounded like the name Finn or Clay, but I just assume that somehow they're based on those characters. So I might have to go back and reread a synopsis of The Tempest. I loosely remember the plot, but not too much. Anyway, it's only 250 pages. So we're going to start with this one. I've started it. I mean, it's definitely not the kind of book I would normally pick up. I don't read contemporary realistic young adult fiction that much, but one, I should, because to recommend it to my students at school, especially because I think this one will be really popular based on kind of what I'm seeing so far. But 2, even though I don't normally pick up these things normally, this kind of book, but Looking for Alaska meets Breaking Bad has me really intrigued because those are 2 things that I do really enjoy. So let's start with Wrecked first, and then we'll find 2 more books that we could read throughout this video. I'll keep you updated. But first, Red Bull. Okay, it's time to do some more reading. I'm on page 55. So a few pages into Wrecked, 55 pages in, and it's interesting because I read so much fantasy that it's kind of nice to have realistic fiction. It's really easy to read. Turns out I can read this way faster than fantasy because I don't have to learn all the names and places and characters and stuff, and that's kind of nice. Yeah, it's just really easy to read. The chapters are very short, very short. I think I'm already halfway through part 1, but each chapter is only a couple pages long. It's constantly jumping back and forth between these 3 people, and I mean, it's fine. I hope something intriguing happens soon because nothing's really we're just getting introduced to the people, so I feel very soon something will actually start happening. Okay, my phone's about to die, but quick update. I just read a third of this book. I cannot believe I read it that fast. I mean, I already read something, but like I'm already a third in, so it's a very quick read. I'll have no trouble finishing this before I need to. I'm going to try to get to the end of this little section before my child gets home from daycare, because I'm on spring break, by the way. Very exciting. But my husband's picking up my child from daycare here in just a little bit, so I've got about 20 minutes to try to get to the end of part 1, which I'm almost there. But since I'm a third of the way, I thought I would update you. I really like the writing. Like, the writing is really natural. Like, she's a very good author, I think. Like, it's just very natural. Like, you just you don't feel like you're in a book, and that's what I like. I read a lot of books where my biggest complaint is just like, I don't know, I'm taken out of the story. The writing doesn't feel real, you know, but I'm like immersed. Like, this feels real. These people feel real. The only thing is like the insta love, like very insta lovey, I'm gathering. I mean, they're not like together yet, so I guess, I mean, it can't be insta love because, you know, I'm a third of the way through the book, but they're like holding hands and stuff kind of a little bit already, and they just like talk about how they already kind of like each other. I'm like, they literally just met, which I suppose could be a thing. But yeah, it's definitely kind of a love at first sight sort of thing. I really got to go read a summary of The Tempest, because I want to know how some of these characters in here connect to The Tempest, and then I'll update you again. Yep, I'm ready. What's the farthest you can throw it? Ready?
That's the farthest.
Wow, that is like halfway across that lake. That's crazy. Well, that was a very interesting night we just had. Tornado warnings in the middle of the night. It was crazy because, you know, it's like this huge tornado outbreak of severe weather everywhere. And we had tornado sirens at 1:30 in the morning, and we had to get up, and we almost had to get our son out of bed, but there wasn't an actual tornado. Like, trust me, we were watching all the different channels, and I watched this guy named Ryan Hall. Well, his channel name is Ryan Hall Y'all, and I love him so much because he alerts everybody about everything going on, and he even mentioned like my area, and he's like, oh, there's not actually a tornado there, like there's some rotation, but that's it. And trust me, if the wind speeds had been any higher, we would have been in the basement. I can't tell, is my camera going down? Like, there's something wrong with my tripod, and like the camera wants to go down. Anyway, I'm sorry if it's moving. I feel like it's getting shorter. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'm finishing this book right now because today is Thursday of spring break, and I only have tomorrow left. Before then, of course, I will be doing stuff this weekend with like my family. And so I'm going to finish it right now. I am two-thirds. Yeah, I'm two-thirds of the way through. Somebody's going to die. I don't know who's going to die, but somebody's going to die. I'm thinking it's going to be the girl because it's called Wrecked, and she has a motorcycle, but maybe she wrecks like and hits somebody else. Maybe it won't be one of the 3 main characters. I don't know. Okay, I don't know what to think about this book. Like, it's good for realistic fiction and for what it is, and it is definitely accomplishing what it wants to accomplish, for sure. I did reread a plot summary of The Tempest, and so I was like, oh, okay, like the names do make more sense now, and like I do kind of see the plot, like vaguely. It's very like loosely based on The Tempest. I don't know, I just kind of wish there was like another layer to it. Like, it's just, but it's young adult, so of course like it is what it is. Like, for me, I want more, I guess, and it's so fast, it's so short. Like, it's like you kind of get to know the characters just enough, but it's not like super in depth, you know. I don't know, but once again, it's because it's young adult, so I don't know what I want from it. I just wanted like one more layer, like besides the fact that, oh, her dad is a, you know, drug lord, basically, you know, makes meth in his shed, like in his little backyard lab that he has, and she's running into this new guy, and there's something up with the new guy's dad, which was pretty obvious to figure out what that was. They don't tell you what it is. You still don't know what it is, but it's pretty obvious, especially, you know, because comparing it to Looking for Alaska meets Breaking Bad, that is so much of a spoiler. Like, comparing it to Breaking Bad, I kind of know what's going to happen. Comparing it to Looking for Alaska, that's why I feel like somebody's going to die. So I don't know. I feel like this is, I wish I'd known less, you know, because it is such a short book too. And because there's not really any other like layers. I do like that guy Clay, like his character is more interesting. I kind of agree with everybody who is saying that, because he, not really the antagonist, but like you kind of feel bad for him because like he has a thing for the main girl, but she doesn't really have a thing for him back. But all of a sudden she's fallen for this like new guy, and you know, he's like, Clay calls this new guy Bambi because who's this like Bambi guy, you know? And so I feel bad for Clay because, you know, he's the one that really liked Mary and she doesn't like him back. But now I think he's going to get in trouble. Like I said, I don't know if he's going to die, if he's going to be the one that accidentally kills someone. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm kind of interested to see like how it does all come to a head. I'm going to go try to finish it pretty quickly. I have exactly 100 pages left, so I will update you at the end. Plot twist. What? Just when I was saying this book was too simple and it's just so obvious where everything was going. I still like, okay, obviously people died. Not who I thought. I feel like we should have killed off somebody else. I mean, you know, George R. R. Martin's not afraid to kill his main characters. I'm just saying. But I'm 19 pages from the end and like, plot twist. Whoa. It was this huge reveal. That was crazy. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. Let me go finish it and I'll report back. Okay, I finished it. So my thoughts are like, I don't even know. I don't really have that many thoughts on the book itself, except that I will recommend it to students. I think they'll like this very much. I will probably buy multiple copies so I can show book trailers and things like that. I think they'll love the twist ending. I don't know. It didn't end quite like I thought it was going to, that's for sure. I don't want to tell you if it ended like happy or sad, but I don't know. I just didn't quite expect that ending, I should say. But my favorite thing about this book was actually just how like fast it was to read. Like I said, I'd forgotten how fast it is just to read like YA realistic fiction or just realistic fiction in general. Or maybe I'm just reading really fast the last couple of days. I don't know. But I read this book in like 2 hours and that has been amazing because I feel like I've been in not a reading slump, but just like I haven't really had time to physically read because my mom's been in the hospital for like 2 months, which is a whole other story that I'll tell you about in an upcoming video. Or actually, I probably already did. I probably already put that video out there at some point with like a life update in there. But yeah, so I've had like no time to read. So sitting down and physically reading has been really fun. And I think it's got me out of my book slump. And I will be seeing the author at a book signing here at our local public library soon. And I'm intrigued to see what she has to say. I will say, I think students could even read this like in school, maybe to go along with The Tempest. Like they could read a plot summary of The Tempest and then read this, or vice versa, maybe. I don't know. Or read both of them. But it's definitely, if I had remembered more about The Tempest, I think I would have maybe even seen the ending coming a little bit. I mean, maybe not. I don't know that I could have ever predicted the twist at the end, but having known more of the plot of The Tempest would have helped. I wish I had reread The Tempest. Now I just want to reread it. But The Tempest ended differently, I think, than I remembered too. So anyway, we have finished book 1 for this vlog. What am I going to give this? 3 stars probably, but it's realistic fiction. So of course that's my own fault. Like I just am not a realistic fiction person, right? Especially not like YA realistic fiction. I mean, as far as other YA realistic fiction goes, it's pretty good. In fact, my heart was kind of like pounding. There was like a really tense scene. It was like something out of Breaking Bad where like some characters know secrets about each other and they're like this dinner and there's like, you know, a character that has a gun and one character's got a knife and he's like chopping vegetables and he's like eyeing this other character and you're like, oh gosh, like what is going to happen here? It was so tense. My heart was pounding. That was the most tense scene in the whole thing. I had to like take a break even, but then it calmed down after that. So anyway, 3 stars just because, well, maybe 3.5 because of that one scene. Okay. We're going to give it 3.5 and it was definitely better than I expected. Just some lunch before we start actually reading. We have this homemade fettuccine alfredo. It's not bad. I'm chewing it right now. Sorry, I don't know why I'm still chewing. Broccoli slaw. And I put some raspberry vinaigrette, raspberry walnut dressing. And then my favorite LaCroix of all time, the limoncello? I never know how to say that. But yeah, there we go. Okay, we are ready to read the next book for this vlog. So we're coming to the TBR shelf here and we're going to try to find the book that I'm looking for. Wish me luck. Oh, I see it. I see it in this mess of stuff. It's in here somewhere. Okay, so I had to come out of that room because that room's a mess. But I'm going to start this book right now called I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me. I got this for $2.99 at Ollie's apparently. But it is a young adult horror novel. I think I saw it online, like a villain origin story kind of, where she's a ballerina in maybe London, or maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. I'm just totally making this up. But it's like the dark world of ballet and how she has to go to these catacombs underneath. Oh, so maybe it's Paris. I don't remember. And she sells her soul or something like that to like a river of blood so that she can be like the best ballerina or, you know, whatever it is she's trying to do. And it gets really macabre. I think from there's like a god killer, or she descends into godhood and the mystifying underworld below. She's faced with this ultimate choice about like becoming, you know, a monster or continuing to break herself for a world that doesn't love her back, or succumb to the darkness that wants her exactly as she is, monstrous heart and all. That is, if the god killer doesn't catch her first. There's a primordial presence in her veins. Like, what in the world? Oh, Paris. Yeah, it's the Paris catacombs. This sounds crazy. Like, this is like nothing that I never have read. I don't think I'd ever read before. But it said it's like House of Hollow, which I did love, meets something else, and I can't remember what the other comp title was. But I'm going to start it. I also have the audiobook, and This is a very bizarre choice for me, but you know, young adult horror, I think we need to go out on a limb and try it. Also just recently watched Nosferatu, the new version, and I guess I'm just like a horror kind of gothic-y kind of mood. So yeah, we're gonna give it a try. But first, to get my heart pumping even more, let's go to this fridge that needs to be cleaned out. Where's my drink? Oh, there it is. Today's drink of the episode is the Cosmic Stardust Alani. It tastes exactly like a grape Skittle, and I love grape Skittles. I've had a lot of this though, so I shouldn't really have much more. But first, we have to get serious and take the cover off. Whoa, creepy. Oh my gosh, is that blood dripping? Oh wow, that is creepy. Plot twist, before I even start, there's a sequel. This is not a standalone. The sequel just came out last year in 2024. This came out in 2023. And then I guess the sequel is called something about I Am the Dark That Answers When You Call or something. I don't know. I probably just made that up. But it's something like that. And so I guess if I like it, I'm going to have to go get the sequel. It's not a standalone. Oh, well, I'll read it anyway. I currently have a very interesting reading setup for this book. I'm at school in the library reading on spring break in one of these nice comfy chairs. Megan, you may ask, why are you reading on spring break at school? Because daycare is closing early today and I have to pick Ash up by 11:30. So I came here to school to film some other videos and get that done before I go pick him up, but there's not really time to go home in between. And there's like flooding everywhere, like major flooding. And like even the road to our house is getting kind of flooded. So I'm gonna have to go home like on the interstate. I thought I would just come here and read after I finished filming because I had like an hour. I was like, what am I gonna do for an hour? There's no point in driving home because school is much closer to daycare than my house is. So I'm just reading this book. I'm on page 68. So I've gotten a good ways in, and the whole first like little part was almost a prologue for like the first 30 pages. It was called part 1. So I'm already on part 2 because the first part, I feel like it was literally a prologue. It was a little boring. Like the first part I was like, okay, it's just like ballet stuff. I don't care. But now we've just gotten to the meat of it. Like I do feel like that actually happened pretty quickly, that by 66 pages or 68 pages in, she's already like at this place where that river of blood is. She's got there now. And yeah, like it's kind of interesting because she is sort of a, not really a villain, but you know, I said this was kind of compared to a villain origin story. And she's definitely not like the best character. Like she literally just stole a guy's watch off of his wrist. Like she's kind of a pickpocket. And she's like, oh, you know, he was being kind of mean to her. I mean, and he was like, I think he was was he one of the racist ones? I can't remember. He might've been. Oh yeah, because she's black. Did I mention that? She's black and she's gay. And, you know, she's trying to be a ballerina. And they're like, you know, you have to be like really like light skinned to be in some of these things. Like you can't be in Black Swan and be black. You have to be white. And so maybe some like other more exotic ballets would be good for you. Or maybe you should go to America instead of being here in Paris, that they would take people like you. And she's like, what? So I have a feeling it's almost sort of like a revenge story, that she's going to try to get a revenge on these people as well. I don't know. It's going to turn into some like Black Swan sort of thing or something. I don't know. But anyway, she's going to sell her soul, I think, right now, or would make a deal or whatever she's going to do. And I kind of like the sort of fantasy aspect of it too. So yeah, so far so good. I like the writing style. I think the writing's really good. Okay, I have to be kind of quiet because Ash is still trying to go to sleep, but I am 1/3 of the way through and thought I should just give you an update and tell you that like things are happening now. Like I'm kind of into it. I mean, like it's fine. I don't really have the urge to like suddenly pick it up and be like, oh, I can't put this down, but like I'm not opposed to picking it up. So I don't know if that means it's like a 3-star. I don't know. I'm not really quite sure. Like things are happening, because I was like, okay, this whole like she makes a deal with the river of blood thing happened really, you know, pretty early on in the book. So I was like, okay, we need some stuff to happen now because the plot synopsis like told us that was going to happen. And so I'm like, okay, well, what's going to happen now though? Because after the plot synopsis gave that one part away, like it really tells us nothing else. So honestly, I don't know where this book is going, which I kind of like. I kind of keep forgetting it's a duology though. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like it's good. And like I said, the writing style is pretty good. I can't really like connect with anything that much, or like, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but I think it's because it's YA too. But I mean, it's fine. Like I'm going to keep going, and I'll get like 2/3 of the way through and give you another update, because there's just not really much to say right now. Bedtime update. I'm going to sleep, and well, I've got like 30 minutes and I could read, but since I don't want to pick up this book, I think it's time to DNF it. I am about 50% of the way through. Like I'm really close to 50%. And I I don't know. It's like, I guess it would be a 3-star book, but like, I don't have time to read 3-star books. I have time to read 4 and 5-star books. And so there's so many other things I like want to read, that this is just like a random young adult book that's never even really been that much on my radar. I mean, I always thought it kind of sounded cool, but like, I never even intended to read it. I just randomly picked it up for this vlog, and I have no idea why. But somebody recently recommended me a book because I said I didn't really like House of Leaves. So a commenter told me to read We Used to Live Here, because it's also about like a weird kind of scary house. And I thought that sounded so good. And it's adult, but my service that we have through my school library that we purchased, that we subscribe to, called Mac and Via, it provides us with audiobooks and ebooks for my school. And they just got that title like last weekend. They sent me an email and they were like, oh, here's our new titles. And that was one of them. But I think it's only the audiobook. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go look. So I might switch to that, which has nothing to do with this vlog because it's not really young adult. So I don't know. What should I do? I'm reading red books, I'm gathering. Like, I read Wrecked and it was red. Now I'm reading this one and it's red. So anyway, I feed her to the beast, maybe DNF'd. I think what I'm going to do right now for the next 30 minutes is just skim through and see if anything interesting is happening. I also feel really bad because I just ordered the sequel from my school library. Sword update. Wait, what? No, this is my husband's like Legend of Zelda sword thing. I don't even know. Anyway, I mean, I did play Zelda back in the day, but yes, we have this. It's like, it's heavy too. It's like a sword. I mean, it's not really a sword, but you could probably stab somebody with the pointy end. But anyway, so news update here. So I did DNF Feed Her to the Beast. I almost said Fantastic Beast. Feed Her to the Fantastic Beast. I don't know. The Beast book. I did DNF that. Never went back. Never thought about it again. So, you know, over halfway, but whatever. I started a new book, so I have to tell you about it because this is going to be the third and final book for this vlog, and it is this Star Splitter by Mathew J. Kirby. Sorry, I'm trying to be a little quiet because Ash is trying to go to sleep, and he's like, his room's not too far from here. But you may ask, Megan, why this book? What the heck? Well, I shall explain. This is one of the KBA Kentucky Book Award nominees from, I don't know, last year? I don't know, recently. And I never really liked the KBA books very much. They're like realistic fiction and stuff that I don't really read. But this one was sci-fi. I was like, I've never seen a sci-fi book on the KBA list before. And so, of course, we have the book in the school library, and they have it as an audiobook and an ebook through Mac and Via. And I was like, okay, I can get this in every format, which I've decided I like to do, by the way, is just read books in every format, apparently, so I can just switch back and forth seamlessly. Like, I was reading it at lunch physically. I can listen to it on audio in the car, so it's just really nice. Or even in the bed in the dark on, you know, as an ebook. So this is sci-fi, young adult sci-fi. Nothing I would think I would normally like, but it sounded really complex and like it apparently didn't read very young adult is what the review said, and that there are 2 timelines, with one timeline being kind of like the past leading up to the second timeline, but then the second timeline is also moving ahead in the future, but you're like the other one's catching up to it. I don't know. It just sounded cool. And so it's basically about a girl. Her name's Jessica, which is just kind of funny because it seems, you know, it's futuristic, but her name's Jessica, but whatever. Honestly, I'd like to tell you anything would be a spoiler. And the reason I say that too is because the little synopsis right here happens in the first like 2 pages. Like, I kid you not, there was a plot twist within the first like 20 pages of the book. Literally, because what you heard here, and I could almost predict it because they kind of like hinted at something already, and I was like, well, that's gonna happen obviously, because they said, well, now, you know, a stipulation with space travel is if this one thing happens, then, you know, we have to follow these statutes that we've set in place. And I'm like, well, clearly that thing's gonna happen. And it did in like 20 pages. But yeah, it's the year 2199. Deep space exploration is a reality and teleportation is routine. And so people can teleport by having their bodies like destroyed and then remade in basically a 3D printer. Yes, this is the book with commentary on 3D printing. But it's more asking the questions of like, if your body is disintegrated, but your consciousness is placed into a new body and you're just like built up again, are you still you? You know, is your soul like still intact? And some people in the book, there's like, they refer to characters who think that, you know, it's not the same person, but everybody's like, yeah, of course it's the same person. It's their body just rebuilt in a different place, because that's how they basically teleport is to kill you and be reborn. And I was like, the Prestige? Is this the Prestige? So she's far above this planet that she's supposed to be exploring, but she winds up on the planet. And so the second timeline is her waking up on that planet. and she finds that the corridor of the empty lander is covered with bloody handprints. The machines are silent and dark, and outside in the alien dirt there are fresh graves carefully marked with the names she doesn't recognize. Now she must unravel the mystery of the destruction all around her and question the intentions of a familiar stranger. Self-determination and survival collide in this haunting, pulse-pounding science fiction novel that spans both space and time. I do kind of wish we'd move along now. Like, I got that everything was kind of set up and I was ready for this big mystery, and now I'm ready for something to really happen. But I'm getting close to halfway. Like, once I got to a third, I thought, okay, something's really going to happen now. But I'm getting a little closer to halfway, and I know I haven't had time to update you until just now. But this, I don't know. I do like it. As far as a young adult sci-fi, it's good. And I'm not really a sci-fi reader, I've determined. I think I'm too stupid to read sci-fi. But this is like sci-fi light because it's young adult, and so I like that. But I think I like that it's more of a thriller. There's definitely a thriller aspect because you're like, what the heck's going on? There's some mysteries in both timelines. And I read a comment on, before I even started reading this book on Goodreads, somebody said that it was rare that they would like both kind of timelines and point of views. And I do. Usually you are looking forward more to one or the other, and you're like, man, I can't wait till this part's over so I can get back to the other part. That's not the case with this book. This book, I'm like, oh, okay, yay, now we get to go to this timeline. Oh, yay, now we're back to that timeline. So I actually really enjoy both, and there's a kind of a mystery in both timelines. So I think that really keeps the reader's interest. But I think this is great for young adults, and I will probably be trying to do this for Readapalooza next year because I think having a cool sci-fi choice would be good. And so that is the end of this update. I'll update you when I get probably close to being finished with the book, let you know if it's still good. But so far, this one's definitely the best of the series. I mean, obviously. In fact, I went back and lowered my rating of Wreck to like 2 stars. So it's going to be like 2 stars. And I DNF'd the last book. So hopefully this one will actually be really good. Also, I just want to point out that I probably had bad audio in this clip. I forgot that the camera is running in the background, so I'm sorry if it's been annoying. The Ash's camera monitor thing app is running on my phone, and I probably forgot it, and it's probably on, and you're probably hearing a staticky noise, and I'm not going to refilm this because I have to go and exercise, even though it's like 8 o'clock at night. So anyway, I will talk to you guys soon. Quick before school update. Also, it's way past Easter. That's not accurate. I know it says Easter back there. So I am almost done with this book, and I have been just flying through it because I have been reading it kind of in a hybrid way. Sorry if you hear Ella down here. She's roaming around doing something. I am like 250 pages in out of 300. I think I have like 50 pages left. I was like, I kind of have to update them again. But yeah, this reads so fast, and I'm listening to the audiobook and then switching to the physical book sometimes, but mostly audio. I think the audiobook's like 8 hours, but I'm doing 1.5 times speed. And okay, here's the thing. I really do enjoy this book. I think it is really good. If I didn't know how long it was, if there was another like 250 pages, then I would think we're kind of at like the big climax, maybe in the middle, and then a bunch more stuff's gonna happen, and I would be worried for the characters' safety because they don't know how they're gonna get out of this situation. If there's 250 pages left, I mean, I guess the ending could just be very abrupt and terrible, but I doubt it. Like, I feel like they're just gonna be rescued and it'll be okay. Like, I mean, that's not a spoiler because I don't know either. Like, I'm just guessing, but I'm just like, but there's only 50 pages left, and they're just like, oh my gosh, it could take years for us to be saved, and all the possible ways we could get out of this are all pretty bad. There's like maybe one good solution, but we don't even know if that's a possibility. We still have to wait a while. So I'm like, but there's only 250 pages left, and we're still jumping back and forth. So like, some of these pages are going to take place before we're finally going to find out what happened before they land on this planet. And now we're going to like wrap up the after section, I guess. So I don't know. I still really enjoy it. The mystery's still been pretty good. I did think that we would get more like answers. I kind of wish we had. I guess every now and then we do, but I like mysteries where you get some answers as you go, not like mystery, 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 all answers at the end. I like mystery, get some answers. Mystery, get some answers. And that's not really what this one's doing. I don't know what the rating of this book's gonna be. One of my favorite things about it is the setting. Like, I like the first part set, the before section is set on the actual like space shuttle thing, space station, whatever they're on. And then Ella is being so noisy. I'm trying not to wake up the child yet. It's not time to wake him up. It's before school even. But anyway, the second point of view is like when, of course, they're on the planet after everything's already happened, and now like it's almost turned into it's like a little jungle adventure on the planet. It reminded me of Ray Bear, which is like a fantasy book where there's a whole section in the middle that's a jungle adventure, and I don't know why, but I really enjoy jungle adventure stories. It reminds me of like Tomb Raider or something. And she's just discovering things about this planet by herself, and like that was kind of one of my favorite parts. I remember seeing somewhere that this book is part like survival book, and I would not say that. Like very little of it. Self-determination and survival combined in this haunting, pulse-pounding sci-fi novel that spans space and time. Spans space and time, make it sound like it's a really long time apart. I mean, unless there's some big twist ending, these two timelines are not that far apart. But I mean, they are in different places in space and time technically, so at least there's that. But I would not say it's about survival, really. I suppose self-determination, but I kind of have a prediction for what I think's going to happen, but I guess we'll just have to see. So I will finish it here very soon, and I will let you know my final thoughts and whether I give it 3 stars, 3.5 stars, 4 stars. I think those are the big contenders. 4 stars is like I really, really have to love it. I mean, pretty decently like it and enjoy it. Maybe even want to reread it. I don't think this is that, but it's not just meh 3 stars. So it's like 3 or 3.5 or maybe 3.75. Okay, guys, I finished Star Splitter, and it's the end of the vlog. Let's just say it's not what I expected. I think the ending actually brought it down for me a little bit. Definitely not the ending I expect. I was starting to expect maybe that the ending would be what it was. So I want to do some spoiler talk for this, just really, really briefly. So if you don't want to be spoiled for this book, skip ahead just a couple minutes and I'll be done with spoilers. I'll have it like on the screen or something like when I'm talking about spoilers, and then I'll take it off when I'm not. Okay, so at the end of this book, it just ends abruptly. Like you start to realize that it is not going to end happily, which I'm fine with. I realized that there's no way it could wrap up, right? Because there was like terrible things happening, and they're like, wait a minute, we could be like reprinted back on Earth basically, and then we would lose like the current versions of ourselves and stuff, because there are multiple versions of this girl. There are 2 versions of her now that have been printed in space. And so she's going to lose like years and years and years, however many years worth of memories. Not years, I guess, but like the whole story, basically, she would not remember anything that had happened, any of the bad stuff, because she'd be reprinted back on Earth in a 3D printer. And that's what happens. They're like, yeah, that is a possible scenario that could happen. And then that's exactly what happens. So it just cuts. The last chapter just cuts to like back to Earth. And you're like, wait a minute. And then she's like, oh, I'm the first thing I remember waking up out of this 3D printer again. It's me. And I don't remember anything that happened. And like, maybe she'll get a little bit of I think they're going to tell her some of the information at the end. I think's what it was. Like, so she'll know some of what happened. But basically the whole story is for naught. It's kind of like, well, it was all a dream. So the ending kind of brought it down for me. Also, the fact that so many plot threads could have been so cool, but they weren't. Like they could have had something cool with this like alien city that she found on this planet, and then they did nothing with it. Or there was like this creepy picture they found that had like this ancient alien species, like there's a picture of it sort of put into that picture, and you're like, oh, but they haven't existed for millions of years, and they just never mentioned that again. And I'm like, that could have been really cool. Like, what was up with that? So there were just several plot threads that could have been so much more explored. Okay, so into the spoiler talk. I think I'm only going to give this book like 3 stars, maybe 3.5, because I did keep wanting to read it, but I just didn't like the plot. But it wasn't that the writing was bad or anything, which is good. Usually it's like the writing that takes me out of it, or the characters are like blah or something. But that really wasn't the case so much with this one. I felt like the character had a lot of personality. Really not so much the other characters, but the main character for sure. And I mean, it was interesting, obviously, enough to keep me going. I just wasn't happy with kind of what actually happened in the book. So that is the end of this vlog. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We did our wrecked realistic fiction book. It was just sort of okay. Wound up giving it maybe like 2.5 stars. Then I read, and the more I think about it, the more I really didn't like that book. And I talked to it with some students that read it too, and I was like, oh my gosh, no, I really didn't like that book that much. And then the second book we DNF'd, which I thought I'd really like, which was I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me. Didn't finish it. Not very scary for a horror novel, it turns out. And then finally we did Star Splitter and wound up only giving it 3.5 stars. So not the most successful vlog. So the question of do I even like young adult books as a young adult librarian is I don't know. Some, very few apparently. The ones that are well written, but considering this was like a KBA book, this was supposed to be like top 10 of the books published, whatever year it was published, 2023. But I mean, if this is top 10, I'd kind of hate to see what the rest of them are. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if I should do another video in this series because I kind of enjoy doing it, and what books you would recommend or genres. I can't remember what genres I haven't done. Maybe I haven't done romance. I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyway, thanks guys. I'll see you again later. Bye.